Hello guys and welcome to today's video. Today we are talking about the first chapter of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, and we are going to look into it deeply and try to see what we can deduce from the first chapter. Note, this is not the official release. I found it on his site, so when it is released on Manga Plus, please Boruto fans, let's go all out and crash it, and the translation may change also, but this is pretty much close to it. Okay, so as the chapter starts off, the first thing we see is the double red colored version of Boruto looking badass as usual, and we can see his chin like more clearly. It looks like a swirl, pretty much like the Uzumaki sign but as a necklace. And the first page gives us Sarada heading to the Hokage's office. The first words read in the village of Konoha, which has undergone the great cataclysm in the past. In front of the Hokage's room, Sarada stands with a disgruntled face. So what we can take from here is Sarada is trying to convince Shikamaru, who is now the 8th Hokage, which I've said before, I'm not really fucking with this idea. She's trying to convince him that Boruto didn't kill Naruto, and what we can see is she's been trying to be an intermediary for Boruto for the past 3 years, leading to her saying she explained it many times. Then we got Shikamaru talking about how he and Kawaki, who is now Boruto, were close, which is a blatant lie since Shikamaru never liked Kawaki since day one. Boruto is now dubbed as a Hokage killer and a traitor who's trying to kill Kawaki. Sarada is still trying her best to convince Lord 8th, and Konohamaru butts in and says that if he's innocent, why did he run? And since they rely on Ada's clairvoyance, and she said that she lied that Boruto did kill Naruto, they see no reason why they shouldn't believe Ada. Sarada is still defending Boruto, showing how she's the real one, and Lord 8th then tells her that the Konoha citizens also want Boruto dead, and there's virtually nothing he can do. Which just goes to show how much the people and the citizens of Konoha never really liked Kawaki. And at least this betrayal was a reason for them to hate him even more, in my opinion. Because the way they've been treating him from the start, sort of like Naruto, just because they are mad powerhouses and targets of Shikamaru then tells Sarada that this is the last time they will have this discussion about Boruto not being a betrayer and a Hokage killer. And that's when she snaps, calling Shikamaru and Konohamaru fools. When Konohamaru butts in and tells her to watch her attitude in front of Lord 8th. Then Shikamaru then voices his concern for Sarada, telling her that she'll forever remain a genin, unfit to be a Hokage, which is weird considering the anime she's a Chunin and the leader for Team 7, but I'm sure there's a really good explanation. Sarada is silent for a while, then she asks Shikamaru if it's because her father is a traitor just like Boruto. Lord 8th then tells her this has nothing to do with Sasuke, that she should be performing her duties as a Konoha shinobi. And then personally, one of my favorite moments in this chapter, Sarada then reminds Shikamaru of when Naruto left the village to bring back Sasuke, who had committed a felony, and he still became Hokage despite being a genin. She then makes it clear to Shikamaru that Naruto is her role model, not him. And she managed to make Shikamaru keep his mouth shut for the rest of the conversation, and that was really bad. We then shift to Naruto and Hinata in the Daikoku 10 dimension, and there Kawaki is, looking at them menacingly. In my opinion, the best time skip design is Boruto, not gonna lie. Then second place is a tie for Kawaki and Sarada. Then third place we got Mitsuki. I feel compared to everyone else's clothes and designs in Team 7, Mitsuki got cheated the most. And I've heard the theories of people saying that when Naruto and Hinata come out from this dimension, they are going to remain the same age as they were. And I completely disagree. They've been in this dimension for 3 years and are probably going to be in there for 2+ more years. So I feel the day they come out again, once they set foot on soil, they're going to age up instantly. Hinata will look older and Naruto might even get a beard and he will have longer hair. Now moving back to the chapter, we see Sumire and Sarada, the two baddest girls in Konoha. we see them discussing the omnipotence. And as I said in my Sarada and Sumire video, Sumire's role to Sarada is probably to serve as our voice of reason, as shown in this panel. She explains how people have been affected by omnipotence to the point that they think that Sumire and Sarada are the ones who have changed from how they were as children. She goes on to say that the world now sees Kawaki as Kawaki Uzumaki, Lord Seven's son, and that is how it has been, and who he has been from the start, and how Boruto was the outsider who betrayed the village that accepted him without a second thought. Now, this is one of the most intriguing parts of the story, as it shows just how strong omnipotence is. When they said reality-altering power, there was no lie there, and here's why. So Kawaki is an evil mastermind. Nothing you can tell me. Like how did he come up with this lie? Kawaki was born and raised in the village and had a body remodeled by Kara. As if Kara wasn't the terrorist group that made Sasuke and Naruto shit their pants. So how did Naruto allow his son to remodel his body with this organization? It's a brilliant excuse for Kawaki to still be using his ninja tech abilities. She then said the villagers felt like what he said contradicted everything at first they knew about him. But over time, omnipotence slowly erased the uneasiness from their minds, leaving them as if they were almost brainwashed, and they have no doubts anymore. Even when Sarada brings up Momoshiki with Shikamaru, he can't answer the question. Sarada and Sumire then go to see Ada and Daemon, with Daemon asking they still didn't give up, implying that for the past 3 years they have been looking for some way to undo omnipotence, but to no avail. Ada then tells them that it's impossible. She then goes on to explain omnipotence to them, that it is a shinjutsu from the Otsutsuki, and it's an ability that realizes your wish, then turns it into a reality, and tells them that their present predicament was Kawaki's wish. She then tells them that what changed was people's memories, and now in their minds, everything they knew about Kawaki and Boruto has been swapped. And what's interesting is that they show a panel of people affected, but Amado's not in it. And in the last panel in chapter 79, Amado was looking at the audience while everyone else was facing Boruto when the omnipotence first happened, which is really suspicious. Going on with the story, Sarada then asks Ada if there's any way for the omnipotence to be undone, and if she knows any way for that to be possible. Ada then replies that she doesn't, and even if they were to tell people about it, no one will understand it. Sarada then asks why, and says that if it's explained properly, anyone can get it. But Ada then gives her a reality check and tells Sarada that only she and Sumire will be accused of having a wrong memory, and who will realistically listen to them. She then tells both Sarada and Sumire to give up on returning things to how they were, and she says writing a new memory is realistic, but only if they are willing to assume the risk, which I didn't really understand. What could the risk be? Ada then questions how both Sumire and Sarada aren't affected due to the fact that they aren't Otsutsuki. Then these next few panels are the most intimidating demon panels I've ever seen. Ada explains how omnipotence and her charm won't work on Otsutsuki and her brother, who shares her bloodline. Then she says Sarada and Sumire are different, and she questions why they are able to have past memories. She then questions them on whether they are really affected by her charm. Then they flash back to what Shikamaru told them about not revealing the fact that they aren't charmed. And then from the way it looks, it's almost as if Daemon is slowly catching on. And he's like, I think he's going to become really suspicious of both Sarada and Sumire in the next few chapters. Because just look at the expression on his face. Almost as if he already knows that they aren't affected. And then we can see them flashing back to what Shikamaru told them, that they don't know what Daemon would possibly do to them. Sumire then tells Ada to stop it, and that she has told her many times before that they are just showing off the fact that they aren't affected by omnipotence. And she goes on to say that there's no one who will be charmed by Ada. Then goes on to say that then Ada says that's what she thought. But I think Daemon is now really wary and suspicious of Sarada and Sumire. We then switch locations and we see my boy Kawaki. just observing Konoha when he tells Mitsuki to stop making his murderous intent so noticeable, with Mitsuki replying that even now Boruto is trying to kill him and he possesses the same Uchizuki abilities as him, so it won't be strange if he can erase his chakra and try to sneak up on him, implying that Boruto has learned some new tricks and Mitsuki maybe has tried looking for him before. Kawaki then says that if he comes to the village, he'll read his presence, that even if he can fool the sensory team, right? Even if he can fool the sensory team, he can't evade his eyes. Mitsuki then makes it known that he just wants to protect Kawaki, and he'll definitely kill Boruto with his own two hands. Kawaki, still being emo and antisocial, then tells him that that's up to him to do as he likes, but wandering around or following him like a creep is such a pain in the ass for him. Mitsuki is then about to tell Kawaki something when Kawaki gets a notification from the sensory team that they found some of Code's claw marks. He then asks for the location, then flies up in the air looking like Ishiki and heads to the location. Mitsuki then says, "You are the sun that illuminates a moon like me. Isn't that right, Kawaki?" Which I absolutely appreciate, as it ties back to that one shot that Kishimoto drew on how Orochimaru was trying to unlock Mitsuki's hidden potential. Like I said before, Mitsuki's attire is really basic, so I think he got cheated the most out of all of them in 7. Then the scene shifts to Himawari, who's looking even more like Hinata, now training with Chocho, who's I like her design a little bit. They keep on training, and Himawari is showing why she is Minato's granddaughter and Boruto's sister. Seems like his genius and skills went to both Boruto and Himawari. They keep on training. They keep sparring till Chocho eventually gets the upper hand on Himawari. The anime did a great job on building on Himawari's skills, but the manga is just showing that it's also as good with her going head to head with Chocho. So now Chocho has gotten the upper hand on Himawari and wins. Shikadai and Inojin then show up and praise Himawari for her skills. But before we go on, I have to slander Inojin's design. You know I had to do this. What did Ikimoto do to him? No way this guy can go out and say that both Ino and Sai are his parents. Bro, what is this haircut? Personally, for me, they should have given him something like Koenma from Yu Yu Hakusho, adult Koenma. That would have been a way better look for Inojin. But let's return to the story. Inojin then questions Himawari on why she wants to suddenly become strong. She then says that rather than wanting to be strong, she wants to help Boruto. She then tells them that her image of Boruto is different than what other people see him as. Shikadai then reminds her that Boruto was the one who killed her father, but she goes back to the Delta fight and remembers when Kawaki sacrificed his arm for Naruto and her. And she says someone who would do that wouldn't kill Naruto. I really like this part of the chapter because it shows just how much influence Kawaki had on her and how she still manages to see the good in him despite being a rogue as she believes. But to her, Kawaki is now Boruto. So all her love for Kawaki is now for Boruto. She then goes on to say that there must be a reason for why Boruto is acting the way he is. And if that is so, Boruto is in trouble and needs her help. Tinten is super surprised at everything she said, and she goes on to say that she feels like Naruto is still alive somewhere. And I really like the flower symbolism on her new dress. I think both Boruto and Himawari have it because of how much Hinata liked the flowers, and Himawari and Hinata were always gardening together, so I think that's just reference to her mom. The scene then shifts to Kawaki shrinking Code's claw marks, which I find to be crazy as he's openly using Ishiki's powers, which Konoha is familiar with, judging from the time he came to look for Kawaki. He's using them openly, showing us once again just how strong the Omnipotence really is. Plus, Kawaki has all 8 triangles in his Dharma wheel, which just begs the question, how? I hope we find out soon enough though. After he shrinks the claw marks, the shinobis thank him and start dissing both Code and Boruto, And I like how Kawaki is just standing there listening, because if not for Omnipotence, that's how they'll be talking about him instead of Boruto. And like, due to the Omnipotence, he got to see people's true opinions about him. Like, he knew he was hated, but not to that extent. Kawaki then notices that there's a claw mark on one of the shinobi. Then he rips off his shirt and shrinks it. He then asks the Jonin when he got the claw mark on his neck, but he himself didn't know. And it's like Kawaki is seen as a hero, and like, he's someone who I think can be the next Hokage after Shikamaru for people in the village. He's like a fan favorite, in my opinion, from the way he looks. Kawaki and Shikamaru discuss what just happened when the scene shifts to two ninjas. Then a claw grime comes out of one's neck. The sensory team detects its chakra and notifies everyone. The police department then requests for backup, and Shikamaru orders civilians to evacuate the area, and then everyone who can fight should rush to the scene immediately. A claw grime comes face to face with the civilian, and as he's about to strike the civilian, Kawaki comes and gives you one to the jaw. He then tells the lady to evacuate the area. Then Sarada comes in and kicks a claw grime away. She is there surprised that the claw grime can travel through each other, which I find to be very intriguing, because in this certain panel she's aware of Code's claw marks, and judging from Boruto in the past, Sarada and Code have never met, talk less of her knowing Code's claw marks, because when they were children it was only Kawaki that was brought out to check the ones near the village and to identify whether it was Code. So her knowing Code's claw marks is sort of fascinating to me. Just as Sarada is thinking, Code shows up, and now he has a cut on his left eye. Sarada then asks him what is he doing in the Leaf village, and he says that he came here in hopes of finding Boruto. She then tells him that Boruto isn't there and he left the village 3 years ago. He said he is aware of that and that he has been chasing him for the past 2 years. Sarada then tells him that he isn't in Konoha and that he should go and look elsewhere. Code then tells her that he used the wrong words and he should just rephrase them. He says he stopped looking for Boruto, and that's why he came to Konoha, to draw him out so he can visit his former friend who harbors deep regret for him. Sarada is then surrounded by claw grime. He then says that Sarada is the first person that he's probably going to attack, and she should let out a scream so you reach him. I found this panel to be very, very interesting, because Code thinks Boruto is Kawaki. So how does Code know that Kawaki, who he now thinks is Boruto, has a deep relationship with Sarada? He says his friend that harbors deep regret for him. Since when did Sarada start harboring regrets for Kawaki? So people saw this as a Boru-Sara moment, but y'all tend to forget that whatever people think or say about Boruto is what they think or say about Kawaki. You get? Anyway, the next thing we know, Boruto's foot is on Code's face, and then we get to see this immaculate panel. I feel as though Boruto flew to Konoha, because if it was transportation ninjutsu, it would have been shown, and like in an instant, Boruto's foot was on Code's face, so I feel like he flew there. Sarada is shocked, and Boruto tells Code that those disgusting ideas are why women want to get away from him. Code tries to swipe at Boruto, but he evades it, and then Kawaki turns around because he just sensed Boruto's presence, which I find to be extremely funny, because Code has been in the village for quite a while, and Kawaki didn't pay any attention to him whatsoever. The sensory team then told everyone linked to them that Boruto is in the village. Then Shikamaru says that everyone fighting should prioritize Code and his claw grimes, but also be aware of Boruto's movements. Sumire is also notified that Boruto is around, and she is shocked too. Sarada is still shocked at Boruto's sudden appearance. Then we get an amazing three-way panel of the Karma trio, and I love how they all possess traits that are like unique to them as a trio. So as we can see, Code has a face tattoo with a slash left eye, right? Kawaki has a face tattoo and two eyes. Boruto has a slashed right eye and no face tattoo. That's pretty cool in my opinion. Kawaki then says, "You finally appeared, Boruto," and the chapter ends. But now, here are my theories. Two very important characters were missing, which are Amado and Sasuke. Most people are saying Sasuke might be dead, that's why he's not present, but I feel like he's alive. I feel like he's the one who even sent Boruto to Konoha. Plus, remember, in this same chapter, Mitsuki said he will kill Boruto with his own hands, so we might get to Boruto versus Mitsuki fight. But before that, I think we'll get like a flashback similar to the one of when the new Team 7 met Sasuke again in Shippuden. Also, the only two people who I feel could have slashed Ko's eye being Momoshiki or Sasuke. That's just me though. And I do feel like Kawaki would change outfits later in the story because I can't lie, I prefer that original version. I fuck with that one a lot. And it seems like he took his inspiration from Boruto's new outfit with the like pattern open in his chest. If there's one thing I love about Boruto, the Boruto series, is how it's unpredictable no matter what you theorize. Something bigger and better will always happen. So I guess we have to wait till next month or next week. I don't know whether it's a weekly or monthly release anymore. I just guess we have to wait for the next chapter to see what will happen. Well guys, I guess this is where I'll end the video today. That was one heck of a first chapter and it gives me high hopes for the chapters to come. So tune in once a month or once a week or whenever for chapter recaps like this one, and please be sure to like and subscribe. Peace out and I love you all.